Good afternoon, Principles of Business students, and welcome to week 3. How exciting that you've gotten through the first 2 weeks of this class. I always find that those first 2 weeks are really the time where I'm sort of reorganizing my life again. And for you new students, you're certainly going through a big transition. So I hope that you found your cadence and practicing good time management skills and making sure that you're setting aside enough time to get through all of your work. So again, congratulations on week 3. So here's a few things going on in class this week that I want you to be reminded of. The first thing is we do have a discussion board question, or rather 3 questions in the discussion this week about plant fantasies. Just a few tips there. I want to make sure that we're always referring back to our course material when we're responding to discussion board questions. Sometimes it's not always about your opinions as much as it is an argument based on the textbook readings and other materials that you're finding within the course or outside of it on your own. So make sure you're really strengthening your arguments with facts and that you're citing your sources as well. And then make sure you're always answering each question asked of you as well. You can see that I'm prompting a few of you to go back to the textbook or maybe answer a question a little bit more clearly. And I'd love to see you do that on your own in your original post. Also, when you're engaging with your peers, pretend as though you're trying to have a conversation with them where you're asking questions, affirming what they've said, providing examples, or maybe referring them back to the textbook as well. Really engage with your peers so you can maximize your points, okay? So that's really some discussion board guidelines that I wanted to cover. We're going to talk about plant fantasies this week, really interesting company. I'll be interested to hear what you think of their client acquisition strategies and how they choose their communication protocols. So it'll be really interesting to hear what you have to say. So I'll look forward to that. The second thing that we have going on this week is a little bit of a milestone. That's our first assessment, which is just a fancy term for a test. Now, never fear, all of our tests are open book in this class, and usually in most of your online classes that is the case. But I really want to make sure that you set aside some really dedicated time to take the test. You only have one attempt. My suggestion is to set aside 2 hours. The test is actually timed at a little bit less than that, and I'll let you access the test and know exactly how long that you'll have. But set aside 2 hours of dedicated, quiet time where you can take this exam. And make sure that you're thoroughly looking at each question and that you're referring back to your course materials when you're answering. A couple of things about that is some subjects that I think you'll run across, sort of like a study guide, but just some things to really focus in on. Certainly the definition of entrepreneurship, what it means to be an entrepreneur, will be covered in the exam. Also, social entrepreneurship will be covered, and we talked a lot about that within the context of Theo's chocolate, so I'm sure you'll get all of those answers correct. We'll also be talking about ethics in the exam, so make sure that you've covered that in the book. And really about global workplace issues, which we talked a little bit about last week, but we'll have a little more questions on the test about that. And then also standard of life versus quality of life, which can be really